The wealthy and predominantly white community of Buckhead in Atlanta says a rise in violent crime is behind their increased efforts since March to secede from the city. And their push to break away is gaining steam. A Buckhead Exploratory Committee citing a surge in shootings, carjackings, and assaults has reportedly raised more than $600,000 to support ongoing lobbying efforts to divorce itself from the majority black city of Atlanta. They argue that they would do a better job with their tax dollars to protect their 86,000 residents from the recent COVID crime wave that the city of Atlanta has. Atlanta is 51% black and 41% white. The racial makeup of a new proposed separate Buckhead city would be about 11% black and 74% white. A proposed Buckhead city would remove about 40% of the assessed value from Atlanta's city revenue, and the new city would have a median household income of over $140,000, making it the second highest median income city in Georgia and more than double the current median household income in Atlanta. If all goes as planned, Buckhead residents could vote on the idea on the November 2022 ballot. Joining me now to discuss is the president of Rolling Out Magazine and host of Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Richey. Dr. Rashad Richey, thank you for joining me, sir. I appreciate it. So what do you make of this attempt to pull away from the city?
Yeah, it's white flight, but it's white flight utilizing statute instead of white people just moving out of a black neighborhood. So let's go back to why the city of Atlanta even annexed the city of Buckhead, or the proposed city of Buckhead. Back in the early 1950s, you had a mayor who wanted to make the city of Atlanta solidly white and white forever. So they decided to bring on the Buckhead community. So the creation of Buckhead into the city of Atlanta was based on race. Them seceding is also based on race. And let me take it back to 3 years ago. 3 years ago in the state of Georgia, there was an effort by a group called the Eagles Landing Group. That was inside of this of a city in Henry County called Stockbridge, Georgia. It had never been done before, Charles. No entity, no group of people had ever left a city and made their own city because it was deemed to be unconstitutional. We have had people who incorporate their own city out of unincorporated areas, but not actually leave a city and become their own city. Well, white people in Eagles Landing, as soon as they got a black mayor and an all-black city council 3 years ago, they did the same thing. They sought local legislation to change the law, and they actually got a ballot opportunity to vote to leave the city and create their own city. Well, they didn't have the kind of pockets that the people in Buckhead got. They were white rich people, but they weren't banked like Buckhead. And so it failed. But I said 3 years ago, the next city or the next opportunity will be an attempt at the city of Buckhead. And that's exactly what they're doing. It's white flight. They're using crime, Charles, as the pretext because they've been talking about leaving the city of Atlanta for 22 damn years. So this whole, it's about the crime thing. That is what they're using in order to stick their case.
But isn't it odd timing? You know, Atlanta becomes a majority black city in 1970. At its height, Atlanta was 70% black. The percentage of black people in Atlanta continues to fall with every new estimate and every new census, and part of that has been accelerated in recent times by gentrification inside the city of Atlanta. You're getting very close to the point where Atlanta will no longer be a majority black city. It seems that their timing seems to be a little bit off. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so let me put it this way. First of all, the reason that Buckhead or this coalition is trying to do this now is because 3 years ago, the precedent was set. Before 3 years ago, it was commonly understood that leaving a city is not even legally possible. So no one had ever done it in the history of the state of Georgia. When the city of Stockbridge showed that it could actually be done, but they failed, that's when the coalition, the Buckhead coalition, said we are going to be next. So that's the reason you didn't see it happen previously because it was accepted that they could not actually do it and do it legally. And here's the other side of that argument, Charles. The city of Atlanta, honestly, they probably just need to let them have it. Because as you mentioned, you have a city that's 51% black, and by the minute is getting more gentrified through irresponsible individuals who displace residents and bringing in new faces who do not care about mama them, and they're displacing residents at a record rate. If you actually allow Buckhead to secede, you then have a city that is solidly African-American at roughly 60%, and you're able to consolidate not only black power, black economy, and black excellence. The city of Atlanta will still have the power of annexation, which means in unincorporated Fulton County, it can still create more opportunities in unincorporated areas to make that area the city of Atlanta. You can literally rebuild a Buckhead and make it a black Buckhead if you do it right.
But let's just talk 1 second, though, about economics, as you mentioned in your answer just now. What would it do to the city of Atlanta if 40% of its tax base was gone?
Well, it's a devastating hit, obviously, but remember, with 40% of your tax base gone, you also don't have to service the residents of Buckhead. You don't have to service them by way of your police force, fire department, or anything else. They're no longer your responsibility, trash collection, etc. So while, yes, you do lose a significant tax revenue, you also don't have the responsibility of servicing that particular community, and you can expand services inside of the remaining city. Like I said, they're going to continue to fight this. They will end up getting a legislator to present it as what we call local legislation. Republicans did it before, and they're going to do it again. So you're not going to be able to stop the state of Georgia from creating a new law to allow them to vote on their new city. You got to start planning now for a possibility of a city of Buckhead happening. And if you don't do it, remember, everybody in Buckhead, or the vast majority of voters in Buckhead, they are going to vote against the black leadership in the city of Atlanta. So if you want to keep your black leadership class together, you're going to have to get it together now.
Dr. Rashad Richey, we're going to keep following this. If we get developments, we want to have you back, sir. Thank you for joining us tonight.